Here we have 5.2. Yes, it's an approximation. It's okay because this is 5.2 billion. This is 5.189. When you round up, you can speak about 5.2. So we asked for the 17 contracts, procurements awarded, and we have a sheet. This is where I needed the expertise of the vice. She's a former procurement officer. Because I was seeing Form 5. Madam, can you explain for us what Form 5 is? Okay, let's go to this. Your market survey. You are saying you are the market survey report. Is that so? With the procurement officer? Yes, you are the market survey report. So
we got from the budget.
That's what you got from the budget?
Yes.
Those were the budget allocations?
Yes, at that time.
Now, price according to Form 5.
Now, at the time of actual implementation, the users redo a market assessment, and then they return the document to the accounting officer to confirm whether the fundings are available. That is where we have the Form 5 to confirm.
0.60 billion. 2,360,000. Your market survey revealed 3 billion. You awarded a contract at 2.89 billion. Was this activity coded? Now I go back to account. I mean this one, you know what I mean by coded? Yeah? You know what I mean by coded? You got a code for this activity. Oh, this whole thing is on one code.
Okay, like now this one of rehabilitation of access roads, eh? That one is under non-residential buildings. So we just use one code.
Is this the same code where you use staff furniture?
No, staff furniture is under furniture.
That's what I needed.
Yes.
The thing is, according to the budget, you had, and this is what we talked about, you had a budget of 2.360 billion. You went ahead and awarded a contract of 2.895 billion. So that means you mischarged somewhere and diverted the money to cater for that contract. It is as simple as that.
No, what happens, like just as I said at the beginning.
So what was the amount of money on this?
Oh no, non-residential building.
5, but on the same code, but in terms of activity costing, she overpaid on that activity over and above what was appropriated. But still on the same code, does that constitute a diversion, a mischarge? It may be a diversion.
It may be a diversion.
It is a diversion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you create a diversion.
It is a diversion, but then when you have like a savings, if you go like to
don't worry.
Number 3.
Don't worry. You know we are cracking one by one. The thing is, on this activity, you did a diversion of funds. Part of our research here is a learning process.
From the savings.
No. Forget about the savings, because you don't have power to appropriate. You, as an institution here, you don't have power to appropriate. Even if you wanted to do environment, which is permissible under the law, and which is 10% of the activity cost, You need the approval of the minister to do environment. And if you want to do, because this is not a reallocation, if it was a reallocation, you need a supplementary schedule by Parliament. But this is not a reallocation. You are still within this given. For you to do that, you needed to do environment. Just on that activity alone, because you are distorting a budget. We presume the budget is well researched. But anyway, that's the first thing you do. Then number 2, staff furniture of 371,450,000. Your market survey was for 300 million. You awarded a contract for nearly 300 because it is 299.16. Now here, you had more money, not so, than the contract. So, madam, we need this saving. The difference here of 70 million. Well, because this is how you do diversions. Now, because now here you get what I mean. You have now 70 million here, which is budgeted for. What you have awarded the contract is 300, so you have 70 million. Which I know you would say is what I took up. But you cannot do that because this staff furniture is even a different code. There you do, that's what we call now a mischarge. Yeah, here you do a mischarge. Are we clear, accountant? I'm with you. Then on 2, on 3, renovation of LDC building, Kampala campus. Finite 4 engineering. You had a budget of 430 million. The market price was 300. You awarded a contract at 295. Here you have almost 130 million. So the question is, we are going to go on this one and ask you, where did you put the money? So when you add this column of, are going to when we do that costing, anyway, we can cost it. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's go one by one. We go to number 4. You had equipment for remodeling reception area, Kampala campus, footsteps furniture. For remodeling the reception, you had a budget of 200 million. You awarded a contract for almost the full amount because it is 199 million.2. You had venue for back course retreats, marking. You went for marking. Okay? You go on Barry Campus View Hotel. You had a budget of 200 million. You spent 197. You had supply of toilet. What is this supply? Is it toilet what? Supply of toilet? What is this? Toilet papers, air freshener. All right. You had a budget of 192. Market price was 191. You spent 189. Assorted office stationery, 200 million. Market price was 122. Spent 188. Footsteps Furniture Limited. No. Petition is on Legal Aid Clinic. And here you had no budget. And you spent money. You see where you now have problems. You do not have a budget for this in the appropriation. You went ahead and spent 159 million. So you took over powers of Parliament to appropriate money. You see, madam, here it shows you have no budget, but you spent 150 million. Tell me, did you get a board resolution or what? Who?
But yes, so these are to do with the venue, to do with the drinks, to do with the meals at the indicated
so venue alone, you paid 100 million.
Yeah, that is everything. Everything. Venue, meals, everything.
But this is a different expenditure down again. You have dinner, drinks, ushers, during back course, professional dinner, Kampala campus.
Yes.
There is another 92 million here. You paid.
Yes.
And you are saying that on top of 100,
It is a different graduation. It is not the same graduation.
how you just pay venue to this Imperial Royal? Were you hiring the whole hotel? And for 100 million. Let's first go through everything so that you know what we talk about. Desktop and lab computers, you had 90 million. Then repair these motor vehicles, then you paid 80. And video, you had 64. Photographing and video 94. You've got also to convince us whether this activity of branding, photographing and video are not part of the functions you are having in Imperial Royal. Because what were you branding, what were you photographing, what were you videotaking? And that takes the expenditure for those functions out of, and here you are spending 77 million on photographs, on branding and videos. Then you have publicity equipment at Kampala campus. You have also publicity, again here. You budgeted for 76. You spend 9, you budgeted for 56, spent 75. Uganda Online Law Library, you had 70 million, spent it all. The next one is server and endpoint protection license. 100 million, you spent 69. And Salongo, you add for me a total for this price according to procurement plan. When you add those totals, do they equal to 5.2 billion? When I add this column of column 1, is it the same as 5.2?
No, the auditor was just picking the random. For example, for 50 million, but then here we have like about 300. He was just picking randomly.
No, he picked those that he questioned and left out some. But
so they can't be equal to the 5.6 billion.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable colleague.
Listening from the accountant when she says that it can't add up to that because the auditor chose what he chose to look at and left out some. First of all, I would request that this market survey report should have been supported with evidence of the invoices, because these companies give them the invoices. So we could look at and compare, because if you give us this, we don't know whether it is what was in the invoice, because those documents should have been attached as annexes so that we can consult them in regard to these figures. And I expect that this being an institution of law, they always want us to give documents, evidence-based information. So, Mr. Chairman, I beg.
But Madam, according to this annex, Appendix 2, when you look at Appendix 2, the 17 procurements.
Sorry, I was mistaken. I thought you were talking about the whole procurement budget.
No. I was saying in,
That is okay.
in accordance to Appendix 2, the whole procurement, column 1, does it equal to 5 points? What's the difference? It's 4.6 billion. Madam, do you get what I mean? Is that Appendix 1, which the auditor looked at, when you look at the contracts award, you have 5.1 billion. Now, when you look at the appropriation for those 17 procurements, it's 4.648, a whole difference of nearly 600 million of amount of money you spent that was not budgeted for on this procurement.
Honorable Chair, before the accounting officer comes in, I don't know whether accounting officer
Make sure you double check.
you picked interest in the meaning of this whole audit in regard to failure to conduct market surveys. Guys, somebody can somewhere somehow forgive you, but just imagine circumstances where you undertake works without initially conducting a market survey. That means you did not have bids of quantities, there was nothing in place. Then for you have a figure in the budget. That's why, Chair, when you look at activities like, for example, rehabilitation of access road, garden and landscaping playground, when you look at your figure in the budget of 2.3 billion to your initiation form 5 of 3 billion, your final contract value of 2.8, you have literally a difference of close to the 640 million the Chair was talking about. So where do you get this money when there is a difference between this and the budget? Where do you get the money? And for any serious accounting officer, how do you allow, to budget for works without initially having an insight into what you intend to do? That also goes to the same activity of renovation of LDC building, Kampala campus. You had 430 in the budget, and then you awarded a contract at 295, close to, slightly half. So this means your whole budget was misleading. So, Honorable Chair, and he goes ahead to admit that there was no market survey. But how can you make such an error? Honorable Chair, this comes back even to the procurement herself. How do you have these put in the procurement plan without clear figures? First of all, this is fraud, it's misleading, and the accounting officer knows. How do you start committing, making such huge commitments, having a budget that is not representative? Because, Honorable Chair, you cannot allow a difference of 640 million between a budget and the awarded figure. In any case, where did you get the money? So, Honorable Chair, when you do categorize these of their 17 items in terms of works, services, and supplies, accounting officer, I don't know whether you can give sufficient explanation as to why you went ahead to mislead Parliament. Because these are submitted to Parliament during the time of, during the time of processing of the budget. So these, at the end of the day, there is underperformance, overperformance. That is why when you look at 2.21, there is a variance in the contracts that you awarded of close to 11 to 55%. And in any case, does the law allow you to have variances of beyond 15% in any contract? So, Honorable Chair, for me, I fall short of giving any comment on the seriousness of the accounting officer in regard to his mandate when it comes to the procurement sector. And the other one is, I doubt how many people do you have in your procurement department. For me, I've come to doubt the competence of your procurement team. I don't know, but from what we are observing here, it casts, one comes to doubt whether you have a competent professional person who ought to have guided you. That from the time of planning, you are misleading us. That would have moved you to the user department. to give you something that is literally representative of what they intend to do. So, Honorable Chair, we can take any other thing for granted, but for this area, whoever relaxed on duty must be held 100% accountable for the negligence on duty.
Honorable Sarah, then
Item 4. Equipment for remodeling reception area, Kampala campus. 199 million shillings. I am wondering what equipment they were procuring to remodel. So what are these equipments that you are procuring to remodel the reception area? This is the item here. Equipment for remodeling. So you have experts here who needed equipment to use to remodel the reception area. Can I know what equipment this was? And it's Footsteps Furniture. Partition Ngov Legal Aid Clinic, Lira Campus. Footsteps Furniture. There was no price according to the procurement plan, but 159 million was awarded, Chair. That is item 8. So you had no price for your procurement plan, but you went ahead to award the contracts. My next concern, Chair, I need clarification on that. My next concern, Chair, I know we all went to these institutions. I'm just wondering, venue during Barcos professional dinner, and then dinner drinks, item 11, during the Barcos professional dinner, Kampala campus. When I was at Makerere, Chair, when we would have such events, we actually pay for them. We are asked as students to pay. So I want to know whether students did not pay for this. And if they did, how comes you now utilized public resources to finance this? Or did you collect that money and it went to the consolidated fund? Because we often pay for them. Even when I was doing my master's, such events are paid for. Maybe it is different here. I want to understand. And then publicity equipment at Kampala campus. The procurement, you went ahead to spend 75 million. That is item 15. Can I know why? And what kind of equipment are we talking about here? For publicity. Publicity equipment. So, Chair, can I understand those maybe before I ask my next question?
Can you also try in the same vein, try to understand what is branding, photographing and video? Because it's the
Photographing and video. Same exquisite. You paid them 77 million shillings for taking photos, for videography and branding. But here you were, again, from the same contractor, procuring publicity equipment. And the equipment is costing 75 million. The services costing 77 million. How possible is that? That I come and take footage of your activity, videos, photographs.
And you buy me the camera?
Yes. So can I understand? Thank you very much.
Chair, now you bought them, are they available? Do you buy and they take them away, or you have them available, all the equipment to use for for the publicity and the others before. We need to see if they're around.
And
of
for the
course,
reception modeling.
we need to see the equipment possible, and then also, of course, about the online library. Do you pay this yearly, or is this something? What is it? This all about the payments given in a tune of about 70 million for Uganda Online Law Library. We need some details about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In fact, as government, we run a cash budget. It means we are constrained with available resources that are needed by MDAs, like yourselves inclusive. And we rely on the key provisions that come from you. That is your work plan, which as among others comes with a recruitment plan, and it comes with a procurement plan. That is what we rely on. And because of the stampede for resources, we take you seriously in what you have planned. I want, Chair, you to interest yourself in the two. You had a plan of 371, and you instead only absorbed 299. So it means you locked out resources that should have been absorbed by other entities that are all the time denied resources by us through appropriation. So when you are not very consistent in the plans you give, you're depriving other entities of government of the would-be resources. So you look at 2, you look at 3, you budget for 371, you end up with 299. You budget for 430, you end up with 295. Some other schools or where would have got these resources. So I think, Chair, there was a lapse here, and this is the one thing that you should take very, very seriously. If you've not done the market survey, if you've not positioned your plans very well, I think you are not good to go as far as holding resources that are depriving the rest of
But on the
MTS from
committees of parliament, like education, where you got the 600 million, okay, they are low-hanging fruits. Where you got the 600 million that you spent over and above what was appropriated, and who gave you the authority. Secondly, like an item, you've got to explain to us, because this company called Foot what? Furniture. I want to know from the car, is it still contracting work here? Is it still contracting work here? It seems to have a footprint. There's this so-called branding and whatever, where you bought for them equipment, then they charged you on photography and video, yet the equipment is by you. And before, because I'm now to the accounting officer, the accounting officer, once a procurement is brought to you, you cross-check with appropriation before you append a signature. And to the accountant, if the procurement gives you a figure, you go back and check. And where is your internal auditor? And Madam Internal Auditor, did you okay this?
As well, the accounting officer is aware.
The people I want are the following: internal auditor, procurement officer, principal accountant, and the executive person.
Accounting officer.
I've said internal auditor, procurement officer, principal accountant, and the accounting officer. The four of you, you need to explain to this committee that you do not conspire to cause a loss. And we are being moderate to call it a loss.
Honorable Chair, I wanted to give you information that on the very form that we are talking about, there is a slot for confirmation of availability of funding by the accounting officer. And one doubts how an accounting officer confirms availability of funding that is not within the budget.
Yes, with the planner, the head of the planning unit of this institution. When I look at item 13,
By the way, do you have a plan also?
there
The
is
planner
one.
here, you added to a team.
Mr. Chairman, when I look at item 13, it relates to repair and service of LDC motor vehicles. And item 14, the branding, photographing, and videography. My challenge as a person who hails from a disadvantaged or hard to reach area is that when a planning unit advises the institution, the user agents, to spend money on this item 14, when the institution's vehicle, a number of vehicles they know are grounded, or some of them have even parked them, they can't run them. The prioritization, of course, with budgeting and appropriation, when you bring these items to the Committee of Parliament, they will pass the money, they may not have time, or it may be on a rush hour. But would you as a planner have chosen to ignore the vehicles that are grounded or that are parked and spend money on item 14 and ignore item 13, in your opinion?
To CID straight away.
Your indulgence to just give me a little time to explain, because there are lots of issues that have been raised, and I do appreciate the seriousness of the issues raised. But one thing I need to comment is that I was indeed accounting officer at LDC for 12 years, and before that at the Law Reform Commission for 3 years. So I've been an accounting officer for 15 years. So I don't have the benefit or excuse of saying, but it is ignorance. But I know that each time we have, before even this final report is made, the Auditor General's office makes their findings and engages the accounting officer to explain. And I know that many queries are dropped because some of these things can be explained. The first time I'm being engaged is before this committee. Auditor General will tell you. As accounting officer, I was never engaged to say, give these explanations, and the things which could have been dropped. When I look at this report, and the first time I was invited to appear before this committee, I even asked for the documents. I hadn't even received the documents. So I came here without, the first time I was supposed to appear, I didn't even know what I was coming to ask, but I said I'll come anyway. So honestly, in all fairness, as an accounting officer for that period, I would have been engaged and given an opportunity to explain some of these things. But nevertheless, I will try to explain.
Can I just inquire from that?
Yes.
Do you want me to go for management later? Because where you are reading us is to say, okay, sir, give us your management letter, and we reassess you fresh from the questions as the auditor raised them. Do you want to go that far?
Chair, that is not for me, and I wouldn't want to go in that direction, but I think it is important as we are. But I'm going to explain these issues in just 2 minutes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, not just 2 minutes, you have all the time.
Chair.
Because the matter is grave.
Yes.
Chair, the accounting officer is alluding. When you tell him that do you want us to take another direction, he's also refusing it. Where does he want to belong before he begins answering? Because it looks like he's not ready for these questions, and he's also not ready to go for that other issue that you have just raised.
And let me just comfort you, is that by the time of the audit, you are no longer an accounting officer. But the law requires, because the accounting officer at desk, madam, together with the staff, they responded to the management questions as they were raised. And these queries were not dropped. Now, the reason why you are here, even having you have retired, the reason why you are here is that at that time you occasioned and made these decisions.
Yes.
Okay? And therefore the buck stops
With me.
That's why you are here.
Okay.
Basically, they couldn't have consulted you because did they have a dispute? Were they disputing these transactions? Were they done? Are these transactions not done? Unless you are saying some of these transactions were not done.
I'm not disputing them.
Now,
I'm
if you
just
are-
offering the explanation
Yes.
that the committee has asked of.
Yeah, now let's place the matters where you are. You are actually required not to have, the law, fairness demanded they should have given you a report and given you a brief of what the audit process was about. And at the time of exit, they ought to have called you, okay, in a meeting. But that's your internal thing. For us, we are now at the tail end. Yes.
I want to agree with the accounting officer emeritus. You know, fairness demands that people are given opportunity. And I would love to find out from the sitting accounting officer whether at the time of the commencement of the audit process, you did communicate to the outgone accounting officer. Because it's very, very important that it should have been in the know. The very way the rest of the people had an opportunity of accessing the management letter, so that you have the preliminaries, you respond, you go to the preliminary about what and then exit. But he had no opportunity. So, Chair, of course, it doesn't exonerate him from the responsibility. But it was very, very important that he was given the word, should have been given that opportunity. So I don't know, through your wisdom, what we can do. But the truth is, fairness demands that people are given opportunity to speak out. I'm now speaking as a prayer warrior and a person who feels, what about if I was the one there? Would I feel fairly treated? So love to get a response from the accounting officer sitting, whether they did communicate to the outgoing accounting officer in time to tell him that audit is starting now. You are the person who was there. Please be around to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. He has said he learned about this when he was summoned for that. And for that, I apologize. It didn't happen. I take the guidance that should someone have changed, then we should have invited him. It didn't happen. Thank you. And I apologize.
But the fact it doesn't take away that these transactions occurred. And that while they were occurring, you were in the know, you were in charge, and you paid them. Because I don't think you were principal signatory to the accounts of this institution. You approve everything that takes up here. So, yes, misstep here, and I'm not so quite convinced that they need to call the former accounting officer to explain. It is at this point where we insist that the law requires you. Otherwise, she signed. You are not even the one who signed. She signed. So I'm not so sure that the law requires him to be part, because these institutions are run without him. But that is, those are procedural matters. The fact is, there are fundamental issues at hand, which you need to explain, and good enough,
I will explain
this
them.
committee, I will request them to keep quiet and give you a cool 15 minutes.
Chair, before he comes, just to help you, Chair, in this institution, wouldn't it be prudent that we also first listen from them, because they work together? How would they go into this audit alone without inviting their boss who was releasing the monies to them?
Yeah, but
Wouldn't it be prudent that we first begin with them,
I think
so that he gives the...
I think I name checked the following people. I name
Anything. So if the officers felt it important, they ought to have reached him if there was a document missing. But he left all the files. Actually, we thank you. You left everything in place for them to conduct the exercise.
And you are free during your submission to ask the people I've named I even forgot there was some gentleman called secretary.
Secretary is with us here also.
You're also part of the group.
So the first thing I will say, Chair, is that in the year under review, LDC got a supplementary budget of 1.9 billion shillings. Now, by the time we made these plans, we didn't have that supplementary, because supplementary is not something you plan for. But we later got a supplementary of 1.9 billion. That supplementary budget has activities along these lines where some of these items are. So it would be useful for us to also look at the supplementary and see how much extra, because we went and said maybe we needed extra money for this and for that. The budget line, that one already head finance has talked about it.
No, that one.
That one you said.
Let me clear you
yes.
on that one.
Yes.
By the time they are looking at these figures, the Auditor General looks at a revised budget.
Yes.
Eh? It doesn't look at the initial budget. And you'll see when you go back to, just when you go back to where the section 2 starts, section 2, when the section 2 starts and there is that table, when you look at, it talks about a total budget. A total budget, in this case, is not, he did not speak to a revised budget, but a total budget is when you have inputted a supplementary. And at the close of June, you are looking at all the monies that were availed to the institution. So these figures, as they are they are inputted with the revised budget. So there's nothing like saying there were supplementaries to this. No, by the categorization, by the time of the audit, they have inputted all the monies on those lines.
But Chair, I would still want us to sort of take interest in that and see whether the procurement office actually made that adjustment. I think that is something maybe procurement will.
Let him answer straight, because we need to clear.
Yeah, so you can refer us to where you revised it from. Show us the document, refers to any document.
No, but you are taking, you are moving in circles. I asked you at the beginning of this audit, when you reached section 2, I referred you to table 3. Table 3, and I asked, is this figure correct? He said, you had a total budget. Whether I revised or initial, you had a total budget of 34.21, and all of it was warranted. You said yes. So that question of revised or non-revised?
Accountants here, no. It is the structure. That is how we are supposed to present figures. If you are revising a budget, there has to be 2 columns. Column for approved budget initially, then a column for revised. Before you reach the total, we should know how you reach to that total. You don't just give us a total figure, no. Teachers used to ask us about workings. They don't just give you naked answers, I mean marks. They've got to ask you about your workings. How did you reach there? So approved and revised before you reach to the total.
Actually, those 3 columns are there. There should be initial budget, adjustment because of a parameter, and total revised
budget. Yes.
On every column. And where monies are on each is always indicated. But be as it is now,
yes.
Not to delay. The figures you are looking at are the total approved budgets for this entity.
Yes,
the
Chair.
figures that were used for procurement took care of the adjustments on the face of it, unless you convince us otherwise.
Yes, Chair. And as I said, you guide the source documents, which eventually we're going to look at. There is no approval that the accounting officer made without being informed that the budget line is available. There are resources against that budget line. This one of Lira, I think that is just an error. We need to check, Chair. It is just an error to say that there's no figure in the plan. we shall confirm. For the Bacchus dinner, Honorable, first of all, the numbers of students we are talking about are very different from some of the other institutions. Here, that dinner, we are talking about a dinner for 1,200 people. So it's not a dinner for a small bar, and this was a dinner at that hotel, yes. And so you know that in some hotels, even the food alone might be about 80,000 and all that. So 100 million was for the whole dinner. It was not just for hire of venue. It included the hire of venue and the meals, and the students did not pay any money at all towards this. It came from their fees, which they paid. So part of that we say we're going to give you this dinner to interact with senior lawyers in town before you go into the field.
So it came from their fees, which means there was a charge. There was not a direct one.
No, the fee is a block sum of 6 million for the year, and that one they pay to URA, it goes to the consolidated fund. But when we're budgeting, we sort of know that within that we are going to give them this professional dinner. So it's a big number. So 100 million is dinner for 1,200 people. So it's a
But when you look, Chair, that takes me to my next question.
No, first,
at Imperial Royal, do we have a hall that can accommodate 1,000 students for a dinner?
There is one which accommodates, I think, almost 1,500. Their biggest hall down there, and you will find that every
tables
year.
for dinner, you can have 1,000 people.
Yes, you can.
But the question is, as it is here on the procurement, and let me take you for what it is. It is venue during Bacchus professional dinner.
Yes.
You paid 100 million.
So again, the wording.
I'm saying for what it is.
Yeah.
And I stand to be collected.
Yes.
The figure of 100 million, honorable colleagues, from the procurement, you are procuring a venue. You go down to this same code, but different procurement. Then you procured drinks, dinner, ushers during Bacchus professional dinner, Kampala campus.
Yes.
You spent another 92 million.
Yes.
I'm now looking at the cost of that dinner. Then you go up here, I guess this branding, photographing and video of 77 may be also speaking for that dinner. You go to publicity equipment at Kampala campus, 70 may be speaking to that dinner. Now, the question is, you need to convince us that this 100 million was not for venue. But when I look at it here, you and me read English.
I appreciate, Chair.
Yes.
Even somebody who looks at it and looks at venue will say this money must be for venue. I think at times it is nomenclature, and at times even the codes, when you look at these codes, they don't tell the whole story. So the code will be there for venue, and that is what we are charging again.
You see, what happens during the exit meeting,
yes,
okay,
yes,
is that the auditors are buried with these smaller details.
Exactly.
And that's why you have those meetings.
And now I'm giving the details here,
now,
which I should have given to them.
No, what I'm saying, for you to give us the details, is to lay on table the invoice. And
I think
say, we were invoiced for dinner, but the dinner included meals. I know that in hotel management, venue may include meals.
Yes.
That's a nomenclature you can easily get. But for you to say, to achieve that, then you've got to put an invoice that speaks to that fact that this procurement included meals. And for 1,000 people, it's a fairly, it can fly. It can fly. But for you to convince us that you didn't pay for venue only, it's an invoice. Without many words.
I agree,
now,
Chair.
Then you've got to tell us. You've got to tell us what you are doing for dinner, drinks, ushers, Bacchus, professional dinner, still Kampala. Why you paid another 92?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I said the big question mark. is on reading 11, and that is what also Sarah spoke to. It was walk us through 11 and 9.
Chair, 9, we did the dinner at Imperial Royal. We had planned for 100 million. As you said, we end up spending 105. So the next graduation, and we have different intakes of students. The next one, we said, perhaps if we hold it here, we had that ground which had now been prepared. Yes, yes. We said now if we do at the grounds, maybe we will save money. But it ended up also costing almost the same. We saved a little bit. But if you still had to hire those huge tents, you know, a tent for 1,200 people, you end up spending even more than 20, 30 million on tents. So you save money on the meals of the hotel, but you have to hire the tents. You don't have tables, you don't have chairs. So we had to hire all those things. But what your question is, are these two the same? Because they look like it's the same. We shall get the invoices to show that these are two different graduation ceremonies.
So you normally have two graduations during the year?
In that, actually, professional dinner. Sorry, professional dinner.
You normally have two?
It is one in an academic year, but some academic years spill into the next one. Yeah.
Chair, this is an institution, and I am very sure that every institution has its plans, and you know clearly that in LDC we have, for example, graduations during this month and this month. Now, to say that some graduations in some years, it's like it's just haphazard. It's something that just comes up. You must have planned for these graduations, knowing that the financial year runs from July to June the next year. So you can't say that some years. What are the graduation months, for example, if I may ask? If I ask for the previous financial year that we just concluded.
That particular year actually had two, because we had a graduation, was it in April? Then we had another one in December of last year. So last calendar year there were two graduations.
Madam,
last calendar.
So they are not fixed. The graduation dates are not fixed.
Even that settles you, madam. Even if, so just take us. You had two in a year, one in April, and another one. Now, madam, December is a different financial year. No. That's why we're asking. This is an audit report for the year ended, unless you had one for the year ended June. Unless you say, and I want to correct you, that you had one in December of 2023, then you had one in April of 2024. There you can speak about the same financial year. But if you say you had one in April and another one in December, then those are two different financial years.
But Chair,
we'll be asking them to find out when they withdrew the money for payment, or if you drew the check, what was it in terms of the date?
Yes, I'll get the exact date, and the invoices are there. But there were two dinners. One was in July of 2023, and then the other one was, I think, May, June. I'll get the exact of 2024.
Chair,
So they were...
Chair, we are in the campus here, and he has people who are working with him. What is this I will get, that you cannot tender so that we can look at it and go over it and leave it there? Why are you waiting to give later? Can we have those documents? You have assistants here. We should be giving them whatever you say they should tender in. Why are you saying I will get? Where are you going to get them from?
I'm going to
thought you left them here.
My sister. I cannot direct them. I'll have to ask my sister too.
But your sister knows that this is an audit query that is being answered here. And if you are referring to such documents, they are property of this institution. And therefore, they should be provided because this is the Committee of Parliament. They are actually...
By the council, let's say I did give you that black file where the details of each of these procurement, the date and everything is there. But to make our work easy, these are simple. It's asking you you can tell us even in a simple thing, go and tell us the dates.
Yes.
When you had this venue, when you drew the check to pay 2 things.
Thank you, Chair. I'll
check
do that.
I think remaining.
I think it was electronic transfer. Then the senior public relations officer is here. You asked about that equipment. He can explain what that equipment are, whether there are things that we have in the unit. Ms. Obonyo.
Photographing and videography. Then there's publicity equipment at Kampala campus. Chair, we never hired exquisite brand to do for us photography or any publicity work. When LDC set up this office in May 2022, there was nothing, no equipment. And so we sat and planned and budgeted for items that we require, basic items that we require for publicity office. And so this financial year that was audited, 2023-2024, we procured a number of items, and I think this is because of the wording, especially 14, branding, photographing, and videography. We bought a number of things, including, I can just mention a few, banners, and those banners, some of them are right at the back. We also bought some for Kampala campus, and all the other campuses. It was a major procurement that we had. Photography and videography, we bought our cameras. We now do live streaming for graduation and all these other functions. We do not hire a service provider to do that for us. Publicity equipment at Kampala campus is the same thing. We did in 2 ways. The procurement happened in different quarters. So I just need to maybe know to get the details that happened in this quarter, then also in another quarter. But this was a major procurement that we did to equip our office, because there was nothing completely.
Who provided you with these services? Who was the service provider?
It is Exquisite Branding that was the supplier of all these items. So we did not hire them to come and do for us the work. We do it ourselves.
So you got the equipment?
Yes, we bought the equipment. We bought the banners, the teardrops, the backdrop banner, the pull-up banners. They are all there. Some are in Kampala campus.
At a sum total of like 150?
Yes. It was actually, we had planned for 190, but the plans, the available funds were this figure that we have.
What did you buy?
We bought cameras, both video and still. They are all there in the cabin. We bought microphones. We bought frames. They are called. They are frames that we put all our key messages. For example, the themes, the vision. There's one right at the back there. Mandate, yes. So those are the form boards. The form boards.
You bought this one.
You see the backdrop banner?
This one.
Yes, that's the big one. And then there's also the form board where you see the mandate. That one is between 2.5 and 3 million shillings. The backdrop banner. It has a stand. Chair, it has a stand. No, the stand is there. No, at the moment, it's only me who can put up that banner. So yesterday I requested my director to allow me to go for the barrier. So I requested somebody to put up that for us, but the stand is there. So it is between 2.5 and 3 million. So there was... Pardon?
You know we do these things.
But Honorable Chair, he has said it is between 2.5 and 3. Doesn't he know how much it costed him to acquire it?
No, I'm saying 2.5 to 3 million because it keeps varying. The price keeps varying. Right now, when you say 2.5,
For you, at what cost did you
we
get?
bought it at 2.5 million.
Thank you.
Yes. Depending on the size. But the point is that we did not hire anybody to do for us any publicity. We stocked the unit with the gadgets that we need, the lapel mics, the HDMI cables that we use for live streaming, and also the lenses, different types of lenses. There are those long-range lenses. Yes? They are smaller lenses of about 30, between 50 millimeters.
And you bought it at what, at how much?
The lenses cost 2.5 million shillings.
Okay.
Yes. Then we also have the long range.
But those are very poor lenses, sir. What are they going to do for you? the ones of 2.5.
Chair, it depends on the kind of function.
You no longer people here. we do a lot of business, so don't worry, we may know the price. Lenses of 2.5, ask these fellows, are very poor lenses.
Chair, it is not just a lens of 2.5, but what I was saying is that there are different circumstances that you need a different lens. There are also long range lenses, there are short range lenses. So
in short,
yes,
the characterization of the procurement was for branding,
yes,
photographing and video.
Yes,
and then you needed equipment.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay. We can park that. Honorable colleagues, we can park. That is a little bit.
Be corrected. Which audit year are we looking at?
2023-24.
2023-2024. I have looked at Form 5 for the dinner that was held at Kampala campus. And this was a requisition by the LO, SAO, Maureen Kemgabo.
Are you around?
The Student Affairs Office.
Yes, Chair, this requisition is dated 30th June 2023.
30th June?
June.
Okay, just on the eve, okay.
Yes, 2023. And from the documents that I have seen, the budget estimate was 156 million. And according to this document, this was a local purchase order dated 22nd November 2023. And the delivery period should have been 22nd November 2023. So this took place in November 2023, I am assuming.
I assume so as well, Honorable.
Okay.
Then the second one, Chair.
Let's go.
The second one at Imperial Royal Hotel. This was a local purchase order dated July 19th, 2024, which is a different financial year. July 2024, which is a different financial year. And according to this memo, the request was dated 18th April 2024, and the activity was scheduled for 5th July 2024. So this is outside the financial year in question.
Let me look at the Auditor General's report. You see, the effect, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about there was a change in the Auditor General's reporting period. This Auditor General's report is for the year ended December 2024. So they capture for up to date. They now try to give accountability that by the time of reporting, they report up to date. Yeah, they report up to date.
So these are dinners.
The question is, the one of June, which you authorized payment, but they authorized payment on the end of June, end of a financial year. So that year was which year? 2022-23.
2024.
Eh?
It was June of 2024.
That one is offside, in my opinion. Because you are talking of budget.
June 2023. 30th June 2023 belongs to the audits of 2022-2023. And therefore there is no way that it could cross over to July. Because that is the boundary, 30th June. So that one is the offside.
Where you need to convince this committee, where did you get the 600 million? Over and above what was appropriated to you, and you spent it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I've looked at the 17 procurement under review and the budget allocated to it within the appropriation and what you actually spent. You spent over and above the appropriation. Did you get the authority? Show us the evidence if you got the authority, and where did you get the funds? Because even if you minus, and you know you made a saving here, you add an addition here, still you have 5.2 billion. The total appropriated money to you is 4 billion point 0.4,
Yeah.
point 0.6.7, and here you have 5.2 billion.
And Chair,
So that balance, you need to tell us the magic you did to get the money.
Chair, through you, I would love to request colleagues this side that we totally go silent so that we give him the time. Because thinking about the figures of the other years, it's not easy. We totally, even me, I'm switching off my microphone so that we give you the opportunity to submit. Thank you.
Of 600 million. I do apologize that we didn't get that authorization, but we spent within the same budget lines for those activities. So it was savings from one activity, balancing out. As we said, for instance, for construction, non-residential, we had 5 billion. So we spent within that 5 billion. So for the roads and all that, we spent a little more and we spent a little less on other activities. I'll explain. I sincerely apologize, Chair. It was inadvertent, and we should have gotten that prior.
Pass, did you advise the accounting officer that there was no money on those lines as he went on approval?
No, by the time the request came in for those activities, there were those savings. So,
yeah, planner, did you do your work? Because you are the people in the engine room.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my role as a planner is to compile the departmental budgets, and then when I'm done compiling, we have Finance and Planning Committee, which sits several times to review what has been compiled, and we prioritize. I'm trying to also answer Honorable Kabusu's question.
First, answer mine.
Okay.
Yeah, answer the chair's question.
Yes, and every quarter we assess the performance What is the performance per quarter? What are the activities that were planned versus what has been implemented? Reasons for variation. Chair, all those discussed in finance and planning.
So you through the accounting office under the internal auditor.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Mine as an internal auditor, I'm an end person. Once everything has been done, like for example, the works have been done, we go with a technical person to look at the stage of completion, what has been done. And then the procurement person makes sure she prepares the payment with all the relevant documents. They come to internal audit, we look at everything. Have all the relevant documents been attached? The LPOs, the contracts, the invoices, have the goods been...
Do you also put into consideration the appropriation?
Yes, we do.
And you found it okay?
No, Chair.
Did you have an internal report that speaks to that?
And normally, Chair, we come up with quarterly internal
No, I'm
audit
saying,
reports.
do you have a quarterly report where you are raising a red flag?
Yes, Chair.
You have it?
I have copies of my quarterly internal audit.
Where you are raising a red flag that the institution was spending money outside the law, outside the budget lines. Do you have that line anyway?
No, Chair.
Did you do your work well? Because they rely on you for a lot. As the quota is drawing, not so, the internal auditor warns you and says, please, you are trading care, you are going into a dangerous line. It's like these days when you are reversing with cars with the cameras. There is the one that says you green, there is the one that says you red. You are the red person there to say. Red comes with some noise. Now you ought to. Your work is to raise some noise. Do you know what they call conspiracy to commit a crime? Ask this lawyer. Now, if you are in my chair, what would you do to treat this impunity, where the internal systems completely don't work? Administrator, what did you do?
Honorable Chair, it was not brought to my attention.
You are like Jesus. In the morning you shall deny. You know, Jesus said, by morning, all of you who are here would have denied. Honorable colleagues, what do we do with we need to take a stand. Okay?
Yeah, first of all, the entire yellow and red cards, but she decided to pocket both. She has an issue. Number two, the planner is the person who is well versed with figures, knows what to do. When you are revising a budget, when you want to change the lines, you should have advised. Number three, actually the principal person is the accountant, because that's the person dealing with the figures. Most often the accounting officers are just given final documents for signature. And some of those people don't want even accounting officers to waste the time. They just tell them sign, and they'll go to sign. It happens, by the way. If you are weak, you just sign. So, Chair, I think we just maintain this query until they bring us any answer before writing a report, if it's possible. But what I see from the answers that they have, the query stands. There is no good satisfactory answer coming from the other side at all. They have been found in a black corner.
No. Okay, Honorable Kabusu, aren't you conflicted being a former student?
Mr. Chairman, having taken an oath
and you know our rules
to protect and defend this constitution, Mr. Chairman, I will not go into that line. However, like you have asked, what do we do now? We have listened. we shall take a stand when we convene as a committee at an appropriate time, Mr. Chairman.
By this one, we have concluded. There's no stand we are taking.
Mr. Chairman, I have already written a report.
No, forget about the report. The conclusion is clear. Honorable.
Mr. Chairman, but before I will take away the microphone from me, I have training in media and journalism myself, and that conflicts me also. But I would have wanted to look at the cameras and the lenses. Personally, I don't know whether from here or where they are kept, such that I also have to see value for money itself.
You've seen these ones on nails and they have stands. These bind ones. And you knew we were coming here, and you know these were queries. My brother, you had an issue. You know, I want to conclude this issue. You had an issue to answer. I don't know why these colleagues are being very conservative.
Chair, Chair, on the issue of printing.
Yes.
There's a whistleblower that these books, as they say, are printed from.
No, don't worry, we are going there. We are going to the printing press.
Yes.
That's where we are starting our journey of touring.
Okay.
Yeah, because the information that is coming through is that you are not being very fair and honest with us.
Yes.
On what you are printing here and not printing here. You
Yes.
better become good on that before we find out.
Those are NASA books.
Before we find out. You know, we have friends, we have relatives here. We know now what is going on here. That's why, Madam, I want to help, as I've discussed with you, this will help you bring reforms in this institution. That's why we spend a little bit of time. There's an institution we also want to round up called the Chambogo University. We want, much as we are busy, we are going to spare like 4 days because that impunity in that university needs to be brought to an end. We hope that this helps you out. Being LDC and everywhere you know what to stand on, but if we sustain the query and we will make our report.
To make this statement. And when we started the engagement, the first time I appeared before this committee, we did go into the issue of how we cooperated with the committee, and I think that one was handled by the chair.
We request that you allow the senior person to be in front. Actually, she's supposed to be with our chairperson. The rest of us should put back, allow the accounting officers, both of them, to be here.
Machines that were bought under the batch of the 2.1 billion plus 2.5 was for the construction.
Yes.
So we need to know about the details of these machines. They are telling us this machine is they are still under the hands of the supplier. They have not handed over.
Because there were problems with them. The machines had some problems, some missing components, which some were brought. We have a full report on each lot that was purchased and where it stands now. So some had missing components, others were not working to 100% capacity, and we have correspondence where we've been writing to MFI, and they've been coming, with their technicians, and as they say, they still need some other parts. So we need to look at the entire report. Some machines okay, others are not, others missing components, some have been delivered, some are still outstanding. So it is a whole story. Secretary, where is Secretary? You have the documentation.
Madam.
Not development centers yet, because we need to look at the contract, the real contract to open it, because it looks that for the 2.1 billion contract, it is not been fully executed.
No.
It is incomplete. So because of, and actually I should say it's an ongoing contract. So for the fact that it is an ongoing contract, we are going to have you for another day. We are going to communicate specifically for this contract.
Yes.
The money that has been spent since 2021-22, the contract has not been.
They said the supplier is here. You may find that the supplier actually handed over. Why don't we ask the supplier who is around?
To come and
tell us why they have not handed over despite bringing these machines here. Yes. that we need a report of all the machines that were purchased in that procurement and know the status in which those machines are, in as far as handing over is concerned, operation, and maintenance.
Additionally, give you chapter planning, everything, procurement, up to where we are now. Accountability. You were awarded a contract in the year, since 2021-22 to supply these equipments. We have been told they are not fully operational because they are still within your hands. You've not handed over. So we need to know for how long was this contract? You signed the contract for how many years? And why aren't these machines operational to date?
We got this contract in 2022, I believe, and we were doing face-to-face commissioning. So this is a complete project of lot of machines. It has digital machine, it has offset machine, it has finishing machines, it has card printing machines, it has cup printing machines, a lot of things. So we started the contract in 2022, and that time we were having only that room. So we supplied some of the machines in that room, and this facility was not there. We got in 2024. So we ordered the machines, and the machines were lying in the bond. Even the offset machine were lying in the bond. At 2024, when we got this place, we started the installation and commissioning. So these machines were working, all these machines are set off, but now what we are having the problem is we need to have experienced operator to use these machines. This is actually, these all are commercial machines. Let's say an example of this machine. This machine, if you want to do a case making, this is for the case making machines. So if you want to use it, you need to have a proper operator who is trained, who is experienced, who is brilliant on using all these machines. So this is what we are lacking. We are lacking on training side. Apart from that, we need to have the proper operator, experienced operator to train them and hand over properly. So from our till now, the machines are working. We completed the installation.
Answer the question. You hand over to the management of LDC.
The face-to-face commissioning was going on, and some of the machines were handed over and they were using it. And this machine, we never got a proper person to hand over it, to use the machine, to clean the machine, to work the machine.
Yes, sir. That you did maybe jointly with this team. Because there's an allegation that some of the components are missing, some of the parts are not yet here, some of the things are not functional. How far true is it that these machines are really working? What will make this committee to get satisfied that it's true they are working?
Sir, even we had an official commissioning last time. Last time we were doing it, even in front of us we made some pages, some samples we made. Maybe if you want to see, we can even do it yourself, in front of yourself. 2022 we got the contract, yes, and we got some facility to install the machines, yes, over phase 1, that is lot 1 I believe, yes, and we had done that. Then lot 2 also done. Now this is lot 3, lot 4. Still all machines are working.
Because we would love to find out whether you've been paid 100%.
No sir, no.
Well, they have paid you how much money?
We had paid this total 1.3 billion I believe. It's half the price has been paid.
Mr. Contractor, have you provided initial training to the operators of these machines?
Was it part of the contract that you
Yes,
trained?
it's part of the contract. We are always on call. We are always here.
Have you provided them with that training?
Yes, madam. Yes, some of few. Actually, this is not done. This is done. That machine is done. That machine is done.
Why has this not been done?
And even for that machine, the manufacturer themselves came here.
For 3 years, you're still
Why hasn't this not been done?
This was installed in 2024.
Kwetumaliriza basansanya ssente ezitaabaweebwa mu budget eziwerera ddala miliyoni 600 bazisansanya ku bintu kwabe mbazeemu kati ezo seremone zaabwe ebotekako venue kamera biki dina gye bagula ebyoko olaba nga baweereza ddala kumpi miliyoni nga 4 bye batadde mu bintu eby'engeri eyo. Kati institution yennyini ogenda ogiraba internal audit tekola, planning unit nfu, accountant naye mukadde tusaasidde musaasire yeetaagamu essaala. N'olwekyo institution eno eri bubi nnyo, naye ate kikwewunyisa nga yetraininga ab'amateeka. Bali ate abamaze okufuna degree wano we bajja ne bafuna okukola ki okubibwako enfuufu okusemba. So abakubi b'enfuufu bennyini balina enfuufu. Kyova olaba eggwanga lyaffe liri mu buzibu obw'engeri bwe zityo. Kweri bebeera sustained, kitegeeza abazza emisango bateekeddwa okugiwoza. Ate Abaganda bagamba guluma yakola ki? Yaguza. So buli benkoonyeeko awo internal audit ani mu ripooti yaffe tujja kuwa recommendation esaanidde okusinziira ku musango gwe bazza. Of course kiri nosanga nga sinagula bintu ogenda okukola contract ng'okukola enguudo okukola buli kimu byonna nga tebeefuddeyo akatale kagamba kyo bo ne bateekako omuwendo gwe beeyagalira bo ng'abantu. So kyovula aba budget basaba birala bwe batuuka eno wansi bakola birala ate be bazifissa ne bazisabbo ku bye baagala nga tebafunye lukusa okuva mu ewa minister oba okuva mu parliament.
Ekisooka nga Lord Development Center ebizibu ekyalina bingi n'abakozi bennyini oyinza okwebuuza oba bakola babitegeera era ogenza okulaba nti abakozi abamu balayika abamu basuubira banene n'okusinga ba accounting officers baabwe kyova nti kati accountability esukka ku accounting officer naye genda ku bakozi bennyini buli omaddemu byakola mu area ye printer emugirabye oguze ebyuma mu mwaka gw'ebyensimbi mu mwaka 2022 mpaka kati ebyuma tebikola contractor ku billion 2 mu obukadde 10 bamusasulako just billion mu obukadde 3 nga kitegeeza nti ebisinga tannabikola naye yagamba nze namaliriza nsigadde ku training abakozi. Accounting officer agamba nti nze nagaana n'omusasula ssente kuba namugana ebyuma bya bitwale, that's why sina sasula ssente endala. So era ekyo kikyasigadde batuwe ebiwandiiko tumanye ebyuma bino bye basupply nga contract etaggwa myaka 5 contract etakoma contract kyeyo. Kati bwotuka ku nsonga ene y'ettaka Lord Development Center ine ekyapa nene nannyini ttaka naye tuli wano ku Sapolo Kagwa Road ne nannyini ttaka agamba nine ekyapa. So eno case eri mu kooti naye tusaba government flowing up properties zaayo. Ensonga lwaki abantu batwala ettaka lya government is because government developing ettaka lyayo. Kati omuntu n'atuuka okuba yasolooza abapangisa buli kimu yakikola ate nga government egamba yina ekyapa. So tugenda kusaba Lord Development Center eyongere okufollowing up ku ttaka lyayo ate bwe mala omusango guno obuva mu kooti nga baguwangudde ettaka bali developing kuba banaalirekawo family ene ejja kulyeddiza abalala others will take advantage. Naye ebitongole bya government obudde bwemala mu kulwana bannabyabufuzi aba opposition ebumale mu butya okulaba butya bwetereza emirimu gya government kuba ebirumira bingi sente ze tufiirwa nyingi no sente ze mulaba billions of money kati nga zolayo mu printer ezo sente zisobola okuteeka eddagala emulago. So tumala obudde ku buntu obutonotono ate ne tulemererwa okutunuulira ebintu ebyali tute bannayuganda mu maaso teri asasula musolo okulaba conflicts. So mbasaba beekumeekume balekerawo okudda mu byobufuzi okulwanirira obuyinza bwe batasobola kukozesa kuweereza bannayuganda.